What's up, guys? Hope you guys have all been doing well and staying safe. Welcome back to another video. Now, if you haven't noticed, that intro and promo type thing that I had going on, that was for a Rolex Yachtmaster, but unfortunately was not for a real Rolex Yachtmaster, despite all sort of the camera work and everything that I had going on for that. So if I fooled you, let me know in the comments down below. But that's actually the topic of today's video. It's that fake Rolexes and sort of how the quality of fake Rolexes have improved. Now, quick disclaimer, I don't believe in buying fake Rolexes. I believe you should just buy something authentic. I think it's much more respectable to spend, let's say, $500, whatever, even cheaper, $300 on something like a Seiko, Orient, Citizen, whatever. And it's sort of like an authentic watch that's not pretending to be anything that it's not, versus taking that money and buying a fake watch that's an imitation of something else. It's just inauthentic, in my opinion anyway. I know some of you guys will disagree, and I mean, clearly there's a market for them because these fake Rolexes have been improving over time, and that's the whole point of today's video. And of course, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe down below. It helps me out a ton, and it keeps you up to date on your weekly watch movement content. If you haven't checked out my last video on fake Rolexes, I'm going to leave the link in the description. The thumbnail is actually right there, so I'll leave the link right there. It was about a fake Rolex Submariner, and for that one, it was pretty obvious that it was a fake. It was bad quality. If you go check out the video, you'll see like the clasp doesn't even line up. It doesn't even close properly. The bezel's horrendous. I believe it was a quartz. It's one of those examples where you can just tell it's a fake Rolex. Now, the Rolex that I have here today is actually a pretty good example of a good quality fake replica, whatever you want to call them. My whole point is that there are good fake Rolexes and there are bad fake Rolexes in terms of quality, and the quality is actually improving over time. So there has to be a market for these. People are clearly buying these because they are improving their sort of standard of design and everything over time. It's becoming increasingly difficult to spot a fake versus a real. And so what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to my desk. We're going to dive into this fake Rolex Yachtmaster, which is supposed to be a white gold version, but it's obviously not in white gold. And I'm going to just sort of walk you through just some telltale signs that you can pick up on to see if maybe you can spot a fake Rolex next time. So we'll jump over and we're going to go take a look. So this is the Rolex Yachtmaster, which is supposedly in white gold. This one's actually in stainless steel. It's obviously a fake. The reference number on this one, I believe, is 11662, I think is what's written, which it doesn't match up at all with the actual white gold black dial Yachtmaster. So that's already right off the bat, you can tell something's wrong. And also the number one for me telltale sign of fake Rolex is you can see that often you'll find that the text has some kind of a problem. Now on this one, you'll see where it says Yachtmaster, it says that in red. The actual one is supposed to be in white. I believe the red one is only on the Everrose model. So that's telltale sign number one. And then you're just going to want to take a look at the font of the actual text where it says Superlative Chronometer, officially certified, the Rolex Oyster Perpetual date. You're going to want to take a look, and it's hard to sort of see this on video, but if you've ever handled a Rolex in real life, you sort of get an idea as to how bold and how sharp the text should be. Rolex does a really good job of sort of the fine details. So the printing or the etching or whatever on their dials is usually really high quality. And you can sort of pick up on if the font on a fake is not quite as bold or not quite as sharp, not quite as precise. That's also a telltale sign. Another one is going to be your Cyclops. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cycle through the actual date window and just take a look at all the numbers, right? Spin that date wheel and take a look at the numbers. Right here for the date on this one, it looks okay. Ideally, you're going to want to see that the Cyclops magnifies everything to pretty much fill up the entire Cyclops, and it's supposed to be centered. If it's off center, then something's obviously wrong with the magnification. If it's not fully sort of blown up, then something again is wrong with the magnification, indicating to you that it's false. If you take a look at this picture here that I have on this date, you can see the numbers are actually crooked, which obviously is another telltale sign that it is a fake. Now, if we go take a look at the bezel, this is correct. It's supposed to be a bidirectional bezel, which it is. And to be fully honest, the action is great. It spins normally. There's no clunkiness to it. There's a positive action. I don't really see how, personally, I wouldn't be able to tell from the bezel alone that it was a fake, just by how the action does spin. So that's a win for the fake Rolexes, I guess. Okay, now we're going to start flipping the case over. So you see here at the 6 o'clock, it says stainless steel with sort of a serial number down there. You can actually, by the way, look up serial numbers online. And a lot of the times these fakes will reuse the same serial number. So if you do a quick Google search on some forums or whatever of the serial number that you're looking at, you might be able to tell if it is a fake just by the serial number alone. Another thing is the crown. Now, the crown is supposed to be sharp on a Rolex. If it's sort of kind of blunt and too smoothened out, that's another indication it could be a fake. It's not the most perfect telltale sign, but it is a telltale sign nonetheless. Okay, now we're going to move over to the clasp. Now, this clasp is probably one of the best I've seen on a fake Rolex. I mean, they got the sort of the polishing pattern down right. The clasp is supposed to have this sort of like release on it, which even my Oyster Perpetual has. And it's just supposed to sort of help you pull the clasp away so you're not spending an excessive amount of effort undoing the clasp. This one doesn't have that mechanism. It just has sort of the fold over lock mechanism. As far as the bracelet goes, you can see that it even has sort of that extra layer of material just to help with cooling your wrist. So they are paying attention to the details in these watches, which I am impressed by. I wore this watch for a little bit. It actually does stay cool on your wrist, kind of just how it's supposed to. Probably one of the easier details to replicate, but it is a detail nonetheless. And they did do a decent job with this one. They even got the Oyster Flex bracelet sort of engraved in the side there. So, I mean, as far as replica bracelets go, I think this is a pretty good one. I can't really find any big issues, but then again, it's just a rubber bracelet, so it shouldn't be too hard to replicate this. I really think it takes somebody who knows a fair bit about Rolexes to sort of pick up on what's wrong with this watch. Me personally, I think if you wore this out and about, I don't think anybody would be questioning that it was a real, especially from a distance. Sort of most of the details that can kind of stand out that it's a fake are things like text, the crown, the clasp, things that you sort of need to have the watch in your hand yourself to really take a good look at. So as far as fakes go, especially compared to my last video, this thing is miles and miles and miles better than the last video. So the quality is definitely improving. With all that said, with this watch being a better example of some of the fake replica Rolexes you can buy, I still don't think you should buy one, even if it is good quality. Me personally, I don't really appreciate the inauthenticity that happens in the watch community. And I think the watch community is a perfect example of inauthentic behavior, whether it's from fashion watches trying to sort of upsell you really a crap garbage quartz watch and telling you it's like the next luxury item that you need to purchase, to just these blatant fake Rolexes like we have today. I know some of you are not going to agree. I've had comments hating on the last video where people were swear by fake Rolexes and they say, oh, it's just a watch. It doesn't matter. I don't need to spend $20,000 to get the aesthetic of Rolex when I can get a watch that does the exact same thing and tells the time probably even more accurately because it's a quartz. That's not the point. Okay. The point is not that you get a timepiece to tell the time. The point is you're buying into sort of the brand, you're buying into some of the history, and you're buying into also the authenticity. The reason that Rolex is such a big name is because there is only one Rolex and there's nobody else who's doing what they're doing. That's the whole appeal. Of course, they're expensive and that's another appeal, but that's a different point. So me personally, I would not go for fakes. I would just sort of stick to something cheaper that is authentic. I think that's a much more respectable option, in my opinion. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. I know some of you guys swear by the fake Rolexes or replicas or whatever you want to call them, and then some of you guys absolutely loathe them. I tend to side on the side of not liking them, but I'm curious to see your opinions and to see what you guys think of Rolexes. Now, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe down below. Join the watch movement for your weekly watch content. Until next time, stay safe and take care.